indirectly control my feeling. By controlling my action, I can change my feeling to match. We can pretend until we become reality. In English, we say, fake it till you make it, right? When we pretend, it happens. So this is fundamental. If we want to be brave, what should we do? Pretend we are already brave and fool ourselves, fool our mind into becoming brave. It happens every time. It's amazing. You come up, you feel terrified, but you pull yourself up. You look at people, you pretend that everyone owes you money. And what happens? The confidence comes. The bravery returns. By pretending, it becomes a reality. I remember when I was a kid, I was reading a story about a pirate. A pirate is the haidao. One eye, gun, no leg. A pirate. It was actually about a little boy on a pirate ship. And this little boy would watch the pirates do the pirate things. Steal gold, fighting. And the little boy was always afraid when there was a fight because he didn't want to die, so he would run and hide and watch. Well, one day the little boy walked up to the biggest, toughest pirate. This guy was huge, you know. Long hair, big shoulders, no neck, one eye. And the little boy pulled on his coat and said, "Excuse me, sir?" And the pirate looked down and said, "What?" He said, "Excuse me, sir? How can I be brave like you? When there's a fight, you run into the fight, swinging your sword. You have no fear. I run, I hide, I watch. Tell me your secret." And the pirate said, "Let me tell you the secret." He says, "Remember that in the beginning of the fight, we are all afraid. But when we feel afraid, we pull out our swords, shout loudly, then we lose our fear, and we become brave men." Interesting, isn't it? What happens first? Fear. Then what? Brave action. Then what? Losing the fear. And that is, it can be our experience as well. By pretending we are already confident, the confidence will come. The confidence will come. It happens every week in my public speaking classes. PhD students, nervous, terrified, fool me and fool themselves by pretending that they are already confident. Let me talk just quickly about some advantages and disadvantages of different sources of speech. We've talked a little bit about preparing. We have 4 choices when we are preparing. We can speak from points, we can memorize, we can read, or we can speak with no preparation at all. Let's take a look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of each of these types of preparation. If we speak from an outline or from points, we get credibility. We get ease of adjusting the speech. It's easy to modify, easy to change. If the speech to audience is different than you expected, well, you have flexibility to change. You can maintain eye contact, and you can have a natural pace. Disadvantages is your wording will not be perfect, and students always worry about that. I want my wording to be perfect. You know what I find? When their wording is imperfect, it's much easier to understand. It's perfect. The natural approach is far easier for the audience to catch. Memorizing. What are the advantages? Precision, you can be exact. Smooth delivery, you have credibility. Eye contact, if you can remember. Disadvantages, potential for disaster. That if you forget one word, it's all gone. If someone raises their hand, gone. And then you have to pull out your notes and try to find your place. Unnatural pace. You can't control the pace, you only know one pace. Inability to adjust the speech. If you come in and the audience is different from what you expected, can you change? No, you just have one. Long preparation time. Reading advantage, precision and smooth delivery. Disadvantage, the credibility is undercut. People don't know if you know what you're talking about. You're only reading something. Anyone can read. Most people can read. Lack of eye contact, unnatural pace. You can't adjust the speech. And also long preparation time because you write every word so carefully and look up every word in the dictionary. Speaking with no notes, no outline. Advantages, no preparation time, eye contact, natural pace. Disadvantages, potential for disaster too. What if you can think of nothing, right? So our ideal choice is speaking from points, using an outline. Well, let me back up a bit. There are times for all of these. Speaking from points is good for the conference presentation. It's good for presentation at business meeting or university lecture. If you want to memorize, this is good for the first few words of the presentation. In fact, I have students memorize their first 3 sentences, just so that that's always good, always smooth. And maybe the ending too, just because the beginning and the end are the most important part of the speech. Usually people remember what happens first and last, and in the middle, nothing. Right? So we want to make sure that beginning and end are the best. Short introduction of a speaker. That would be a good place to memorize. Reading, press conference, quotation. I was reading you the quotes today off of my PowerPoint. Complex wording within a presentation. Speaking off the cuff if you're answering a question or asking a question. This is when you speak with no notes at all. And we talk a lot in my class about answering Q&A. We practice and practice and practice because really, even though we speak with no outline, answering questions is a skill we can learn. It is a skill we can get better at. It is a skill we can get more comfortable with through practice. Let's talk about our voice for a moment. We can change our voice to make our voice more interesting. And I want to emphasize this because when we are communicating, we have 4 channels of communication. I won't get into them in detail today. But the first one we've already talked about, the words we use. Simple and short is better. Second, the oral channel, which is the way I say my words. Then we have the visual channel, body language. Pictorial channel, what I show, the picture that I show forward. Now, what's interesting to note is the words we say is only 7% of our total message. That means 93% is not our words, but our body language, and the way we say our words, and the pictures we show. That's good news for those of us who are ESL learners. Even though our English may be low, we can still be great speakers if we use our other 3 channels well. This oral channel here can be modified in 3 ways. I can change my speed, my tone, my volume. I have a student right now in my Tsinghua class. It's last semester. His name is Dim Sum. I know, it's a strange name. I think that's a food. I don't know why. Anyway, his name is Dim Sum. He's an engineering student. And he is a very interesting speaker. And I always don't know why he's such a good speaker, because his English is so poor. Every time he talks, I always think, why is this so good? His English is horrible. But he uses his other channels so well. And he's so confident. Again, I don't know why he's so confident. His English is bad. It's okay. Every time Dim Sum will talk, it's a strange situation because the room will become very quiet. There may be great speakers, good English before, but people might be just kind of casually listening. But when Dim Sum comes up, he's kind of tall and very thin. And he has hair that goes straight up like this. And he comes up, and he always walks slowly. And then he pauses and looks at the audience, kind of sad. And he never begins right away, he always pauses. And then he begins very dramatically. He told a story, I remember the story. He began a story like this. He says, long time before. Little boy, little girl lived together on an island. Little boy loved little girl. Little girl no love little boy. It's a great story. I still remember it. Poor English, but really strong channels of communication. We should consider how we can do that in our own speaking as well. It's not only the words we use, but how we say the words. Let's talk about speed. You can speak quickly, Or you can slow down, or even stop for a while and continue. In fact, this is the best way to get people's attention. Don't talk louder, just stop talking. People wake up. They say, why isn't he talking? It's a great way to get your audience's attention and bring the inner tone. We can speak in a high tone, or we can speak low. I can't speak as low as my grandfather. You know? My grandfather has this wonderful low voice. The earth will shake a little bit. It's so great. When I get to be 70, 80, I'm sure I will also have that. I'm waiting for that time. But a good speaker will use the full range of his voice. High to low, to high to low. What does high tone indicate? High tone indicates emotion and feeling, high intensity. When we want to get our audience's emotion, we use the higher tone. Martin Luther King Jr., you know, the famous speech, I have a dream. I used that speech in my class. I don't have it today. But what's so interesting about that presentation is that it's so high, amazingly high. I have a dream that one day, it's higher. And the crowd is just going crazy. You know? The emotion is so high. And of course, that is his goal in his presentation. And at the same time, what does the low tone mean? The low tone means authority and power. This is true. People don't doubt the low tone. People believe low tone. So when you're giving your results, your data, lower your voice. These are my results. I have a student who always does the opposite though. He goes, these are my results. And we always think, really, you're questioning. He looks like he's doubting himself. He looks like he doesn't trust his own results, so I don't trust them either. You see this on the television, you know. This is CNN, okay. But if they say, this is CNN, you wouldn't believe it. Is it really CNN? Don't let your voice kill your key point, especially at the end of the sentence. Lower the tone at the end to make people believe you more. Now, a good speaker, we use a full range of our voice. High to low, to high to low. Whatever we do, we don't want to just speak in one tone. You know, monotone. Hello, my name is Steve. Now you're getting very sleepy. Eyes are closing. That monotone puts people into a trance, puts them to sleep. Avoid the single tones. Use a full range. Finally, volume. We can speak loudly or softly. And sometimes speaking in a whisper is a good way to catch people's attention. People think, why is he whispering? What is he saying? Good way to get the attention again. Use a quiet voice, especially for a key point. That's how we can change our voice to make it more interesting as well. I'm due for a break. And I learned a long time ago, if people go over 1 hour, they will sleep like babies. So I don't want you to sleep. Let's take 10 minutes, come back cheerful, happy, and full of sunshine, and we will finish up with our time together. 10-minute break.
建材2000块，它有6种微表老师哇，那这样子在啊，感觉穿来。
好。We're going to go ahead and get started here with our last bit of the time together. Next point. When we're speaking, we need to face the audience and speak clearly. As we said, very important, particularly when the size is big. And let me make another comment here. In my experience, Taiwanese students are too quiet. Too quiet. Can't hear them. They may have wonderful things to say, but it's like they're talking to themselves. I just can't hear them. Better. Louder is better. Too loud is better than too soft. At least people can understand you. Another key point is, sometimes students think, my English is poor, so I'm embarrassed, so I will speak in a low voice. The problem is, if you have bad English and your voice is low, it's impossible. If your English is poor, be louder. At least we